Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're with us live on NewsX. The whistleblower who shared a trove of Facebook documents alleging that the social media giant knew its products were fueling hate and harming children's mental health has revealed her identity in a televised interview. Frances Haugen is a 37-year-old data scientist from Iowa and has accused the company of choosing profit over safety. She's revealed shocking information about conflict of interest between Good for People and for Facebook. She also spoke about how Facebook chose to optimize its own interests, like making money by spreading misinformation and angry content. Listen into these excerpts from her interview.
The thing I saw at Facebook over and over again was there were conflicts of interest between what was good for the public and what was good for Facebook. And Facebook over and over again chose to optimize for its own interests, like making more money. The version of Facebook that exists today is tearing our societies apart and causing ethnic violence around the world. They told us we're dissolving civic integrity. Like they basically said, oh good, we made it through the election. There wasn't riots. We can get rid of civic integrity now.
Joining us live at this point is Ajay Datta, founder and CEO, Data Exchange Technologies. We also have Professor Aman Agarwal, Director, Indian Institute of Finance. Advocate Khushbu Jain, cyber expert, is also joining us live. Professor Kavita Khanna, tech expert, is also live with us on the broadcast. Let me bring you in here first. Professor Kavita Khanna, how do you react to these allegations leveled against Facebook?
When such allegations come in and the recent outage that came in yesterday, what I feel is all these applications, they have crept into our system like anything, and they are changing. What happened yesterday? Yesterday night, my daughter came to me and she said, Mama, Instagram is down, Facebook is down, WhatsApp is down. What should I do? So this is where, all these applications are leading our younger generation to. When they feel so handicapped without these services. And, you need to tell them what they can do. They have become a slave to these platforms, these applications. And this is destroying the creativity of our younger generation. And when all this information comes to our younger generation, they see a fake word, because this word that comes with all these applications, this is different for all. What I want to see, I'll see that customized word for me. So everybody would have a different word. Everybody would have something which is not real and something which takes you from reality. This takes away your creativity. This takes away your innovation. And multiple surveys suggest so that, all these kind of things that are coming up to our younger generation, they are driving them towards something which is not really good for our younger generation, for India as a whole, wherein we are struggling to find out good innovators. We are struggling to find out people who can bring up good solutions for our society, and we progress as a society as a whole. So that's how I see these things from my perspective.
Okay. Of course, as far as this charge is concerned, how much merit is there, Ajay Datta, to this claim that Facebook is picking profit over safety?
So why it should be surprised? It's a profitable company. It's not an NGO. What do we expect from a profitable company? Not to make profits? They are supposed to make profits. We have to realize that they are doing for profit. Do not fall into a trap that you are being serviced free. It's not an NGO or a free service company. They are a company for profit. They will make profits. The key here is, we have been talking in the past also, whenever the service is free, you are the product and your data is the product for them, and they will sell you. The key here is, when you do not pay, you have very little control over how your data is being used, how your identity is being used in the network, and you accept randomly. You take all the speakers. Who has read the privacy policy of Facebook? You take all the audience or the large audience. Who has read the entire policy before signing up the account? You just say tick, 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 because it is not taking you 10 rupees out of your pocket. And that is where you become the part of their network, and they own you. They own you does not mean your liberty to travel freely, but they own your profile. They own your name, address, phone number, email address, whatever you have given to them. They own it. Then they sell it. Then they use it. then they start tracking you, then they start serving you, then they're listening you. As I told you already, that apps are continuously listening. We get very happy when we tell to an app, please do it for me. But we don't realize that this app is not just listening that command. This app is listening everything else. When you say, okay, Google, it is not just, okay, Google is being heard there. It is hearing everything else. Whether you're talking to your spouse or your girlfriend or a boyfriend or a teacher, it's listening everything, right? And determine when the okay Google was said. Imagine the amount of data is being processed continuously. Amount of data is being tracked. It is extremely critical to understand that these services are going to make profit. Do not underestimate. The minds are being shaped for profit. Content is being delivered for profit, and they will make it for profit. If something can increase their profit, they will. And there is nothing wrong in that from their point of view. It is up to us to determine whether you want to fall into the trap of using their service or not, whether you want to share the data or not, whether you want to agree to their policy or not. If they want let us say, for example, tomorrow WhatsApp says, we are going to use your entire contact address book, which is in WhatsApp, to tell everybody what kind of chats you do, and we will pay you something, right? Pay you something by terms of rupee, or pay you a revenue share out of advertisement, pay you something about your creating a profile. There are hundreds of innovative ways to leverage data. As our Mukesh ji said, about a top-notch entrepreneur, data is new oil. And it is a very, very expensive commodity. We all have to understand that. Now the time has come, I believe, that these companies have to start paying rather than charging to the users if they want to use the data out of the people, and see that they agree that, okay, you use my profile, serve me the ads, that's okay. I am Ajay Data, I am doing this, and if I want a fridge, serve me the ads of fridge and let me earn something out of it. That's one part of it. Right now, you are just a product. 500 million users, imagine. That's the valuation. Even Kavita, Khushbu, or Professor Aman or myself are in that list of 500 million, and we get sold in that numbers, right? We are adding that valuation. What you get, you have to get tracked because you are using it free. So we cannot complain that way from that perspective. We have to complain about three things. Is it compromising my privacy without my permission? And the unfortunate part is they are not serving under the legal law of the framework of the country. Is it following my rights of the constitution? Is it breaching it somewhere? Do I have a remedy? Unfortunately not, because they are not registered company here. So I cannot really get the legal actions against them. It's not easy. I have to fight an international case. And third is my data privacy. Do I have the law in the country? Our data protection bill is far away, which was being discussed last year, which require to be taken in action, and we require an ask from our parliament and make it a reality out of the country to protect the citizens of data. I am afraid to say that we are getting too late, because the data, till then the law gets passed, it is too much already which has gone to the companies. So you cannot protect that. At least protect what is now being created. What is now, new people are coming on board. Like Kavita said, her daughter is already there. Now imagine now new children are coming in who don't have Instagram account or a WhatsApp account or a Facebook account. At least we protect them. We don't allow other people to use their data. So we require this framework very, very soon, and see that our data privacy is not being protected, and we are not subject to the illegal activities, which illegal means which are not protected by my law in the country.
Yes, and it's also, of course, all adding up for Facebook, because there are other privacy concerns as well. Clearly, which is why, these fresh charges will perhaps provide a lot of more ground for people to raise further questions on Facebook and on these social media giants, Khushbu.
Absolutely, and as I always keep this thing, that privacy is a good faith principle. One has to understand understand it cannot be applied to criminals. Right to privacy cannot be an impediment to investigations world over. And today, all these platforms, not just Facebook, but almost all the tech giant or the platforms which we are talking about virtually have a free pass. They have taken a free pass to ignore illegal activities, to deliberately allow repost illegal materials and solicit unlawful activities while ensuring that these abusers cannot be identified, often immunizing them or becoming a provider for them from activities that extend to beyond internet speech, while creating hurdles for all the lawful exercises for the investigation agencies across the globe. So I would just sum up on the part that constitutionally any restrictions to right to freedom of speech, privacy can only be imposed by the states, not by these supranational entities. They have to understand we understand that, when we talk about these platforms, there's nothing called as border over there. There's nothing called as, it's a borderless place. There's nothing, one jurisdiction which is playing for them, and that's how they're taking advantage over. We have been seeing in the recent events that whereas, these companies' policies are concerned, they are very different when they're operating in India, they're very different when they're operating in US, they're very different when they're operating in, in Singapore or in European nations. And the reply comes from these entities as that we cannot, impose this cannot, we don't have mechanisms, the algorithm doesn't permit us. When whereas same algorithm, same mechanism permits them to, to comply with regulations which are there in US or in European nations. So yes, one has to understand that how such kind of excuses can be accepted, especially when they are against the constitution or when they are bringing in law and order situation incidents, which recent incident which inspired us for the today's talk, such as polarizing the mindset of children, making women or girls think about hating their own bodies, or hate speech or fake news. These are the things which has to be dealt very clearly, because we have been seeing with the fake news the kind of impact that has over the society, the kind of thing, law and order situation it creates. It's a fraction of seconds that things happen, so they have to be a little more vigilant, a little more I would say they have to take care of the part, and especially if I may just put some numbers on the facts that India is one of the largest user base, whereas Facebook is concerned that we have approximately 328 million monthly users, coming from our country, which is one of the highest in the world. Now, if I just look into the advertisements, whereas Facebook is concerned, that's nearly $70.7 billion annual revenue, whereas India is concerned, it has posted somewhere around 892 crores compared to revenue of 521 in the last year. So there have been almost 70 to 75% of increment in revenue coming from the advertisement. So they have to understand that when they are making in policies, when they are doing things, they have to put a mechanism which are in compliance with our laws, and also looking into the constitution of the country.
Okay, let me also quickly, in fact, rope in here, for a quick comment on this story. For a legal perspective, actually, Khushbu, quickly, I want to, get you in here before I get in the other participants as well. Legally speaking, do you believe there are grounds for them, perhaps, to be tried?
Absolutely. When it comes to, we do have a matter pending, whereas Competition Commission, it's a dominant abuse of power which is happening, and you cannot have an algorithm which knowingly you create that there is an algorithm, or there is a thing which you have a knowledge. See, when you talk about intermediary, that is because they don't have a knowledge about it. It's just a platform where two parties, somebody posts and somebody reads. They don't have interference. But where you get a knowledge, a criminal law talks about that when you get the knowledge of the crime. And you sit quiet when you had an option to report or to take care or to intervene in that you're equivalent party to the crime. So yes, absolutely. What the reason, if that comes to be true, whatever the reports, it's still under subjudice. If that comes to be the true thing, then yeah, absolutely. And we have been seeing in the recent past that the way these platforms have mechanisms, the way they work, it's not transparent. They need to bring transparency, and in the absence of that, the kind of situation which is happening, yes, absolutely. Why not? Okay. Immunity is just on the part when they are passive intermediary. What we are seeing today is active intermediary, and not even active intermediary. They're actually earning revenue. Their profits, their interest is paramount to anything else.
Okay. Let me get in Professor Arora at this point as well. Professor Aman Arora, the trouble, of course, building up for this social media giant with this whistleblower and these stunning claims choosing to reveal her identity as well. Do you believe her? Do you believe these claims, and what are the ramifications of them?
You see, apart from what most of my colleagues have spoken, information certainly is, as I say, the gold mine tomorrow. And there is an unfortunate misuse of information. And it is not something which is new. We have seen various government agencies and government bodies around the world who have actually also misused information in the past. The difference here and before is that the government in public interest has the right to utilize that information for various activities which they do. But when it's a company, they are not actually supposed to utilize that or make money out of that information. However, people at large really know that any information which is put on a public domain or a public portal is in public sphere. So there is no question of privacy issues. And as my colleague just explained, the legal concerns for privacy issues are different in different countries, as she explained for Europe and the US, because it is the privacy policy which is prevalent in different countries. Like in India, we still do not have a Privacy Policy Act, which clearly restricts my privacy concerns. So as a result, many companies actually can take people of certain domains or countries for a ride, given that there are no privacy norms. However, this does have a negative repercussion, as we have seen in case of Facebook. Their valuations have gone down, and their credibility in the last 3 to 4 years have been in question, whether it is from the elections point of view, whether it is a questions of misusage of data of certain category of people, or even actually providing data to certain intelligence agencies of different countries from time to time. So these have been in question. Would this disappear? I do not think this will disappear, because they are bound by certain restrictions, certain frameworks, and they have to go forward with it. The question comes here is, would the countries, because the prevalence of that data, where exactly it is kept, where is exactly it not kept, what information is kept where, is even today not clear. And as a result, binding those information according to the rules and regulations of that respective country becomes a difficult question. And being an American company, they're always questioned in the United States as long as it is impacting the US government or the people of United States of America. As long as it is impacting anyone else across the borders of United States and has no impact on United States, the American government or the intelligence agencies or regulators have typically no role to play, and they can play their own game. However, when we see a country like India today it is not a means that anyone can come in India and do anything they like. The government of India has strengthened its rules, its structures, and regulations, and is now actually taking a large number of such IT firms for a task in terms of their misutilization of information or data which is preserved with them by any individual, despite the fact that there is no privacy policy. There are hard and fast rules which are being created in this framework. And hence, this kind of a situation is not good for Facebook or any other entity. But as I said, people are well aware of the fact that when I put an information on any social media, it is going in the public domain, and they should not consider the fact that it may be constrained only to one's account, which is not the case, whether it is free or paid.
Okay. Ajay Datta, come in here. Ajay Datta, come in here. Respond.
No, it is correct. Absolutely. Because you cannot leverage on the data by saying, as I said before, that it is the user's data and we are just the intermediary. And at the same time, you take a decision to block an account at your own will. Both the things are two different things altogether. Legal ramifications related to the privacy of data is, as we all know, are completely different ball game altogether, and they are very, very different. And we need a data protection bill which is pending to be get passed in the country to protect all of us from the leaking and use of our data. Obviously, the framework which is coming in is coming to that extent that we require the framework which allows the data to be used only with my permission. That law is going to protect. That law, when the law gets enacted into our system, we will know how the data is going to be. Social media is the truth for the day. As Professor Raman said, whatever you post obviously becomes a public property, and more than public property, it becomes a property of that company for sure, because the terms and conditions are such, and they use it. You become the product, you become that number, you become that post, you become responsible for that, and you get leveraged on that data. Because if it is a viral, so the whistleblower is saying that if there is a content which can get more likes, more views, more people to get hooked on, more content to be offered, that will be promoted, that will be available to your timeline, and that will be available to your eyes and visibility. That's the killer, and that's where the revenue is going to come in, because you are going to see that ad and you are going to watch that content. And I don't think this is going to stop in this process, because these companies are for profit. As I said before, these companies are trying to do everything to maximize their profit. So I'm not blaming for that purpose. The key here is they cannot use data and push something to me without my permission. That is the difference. And that is where we need our law, we need our systems in place, so that the things are protected. And if somebody do not follow that, we can take a legal action against it within the permission limits by the law providing in the country.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.